What's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is Forgo, and today we're going to talk a little bit more about Spider-Man, who is actually just OP, right? This guy has actually been performing insanely well in all game modes, especially if you have both uniforms. The red uniform for PvP, especially due to the fact that he does have the ignore iframe on the 4. He's got the heals, he's got the passive heal, the heals and the passive heals on both of his uniforms. But his uniform effect really helps him in PvP because of the excluding bosses. It ignores enemy damage decrease by 50%. That is potent, man. That is very, very strong, because even whenever characters have a decreased damage received on their team, he's actually ignoring that by 50%. That is just nuts. And if you take a look at him in timeline, there are people already using this guy on their teams. Whoops, that's an Eternal team. Look at that. One of the top teams, ranked number 2 team, using Spider-Man, right? That's a hell of a combination right there. Spider-Man, Sentry, and Doom, right? OP, man, OP. And he's, you know, some players are using him throughout here. Here's another Spider-Man user right here. And then they got Colossus on the team as well for the extra decreased damage received. I mean, he's just making a splash everywhere. But not only in PvP, but in PvE, he's also insanely good. He's pretty much like a god. He's pretty much a god, especially like in just regular World Boss Ultimate. And World Boss Legend, you know, I think that there's going to be a bigger difference between the black uniform and the red uniform. But in regular World Boss Ultimate, yes, there's a difference. And the black uniform is stronger. It is set up more for PvE because you actually do get a 30% all attack on the force skill, right? That's a big, big difference between these two uniforms. I'm kind of scroll on the right one here. I mean, that's a big, big difference, man. Getting this 30% extra all attack really does help. But there are a couple other little differences that I want you guys to note. Is that on his force skill in his black uniform, his time freeze only lasts for 4 seconds, right? Whereas in his red uniform, his webbing on his force skill lasts for 5 seconds. And the thing about this is, when in the red uniform, you actually have more of CC control well, you have more CC actually whenever you're playing with the red uniform. Even though the black uniform does more damage, the red uniform actually, it has more CC. So like in regular World Boss Ultimate, it's easier to kind of lock down the fight and control it. I'm going to show you guys a few little runs. We'll do little uniform comparisons, at least in PvE, to show you guys the differences between them. I mean, again, in World Boss Ultimate, there isn't a huge difference. But I think against Null and Mephisto, you're going to see a larger difference between their damage between these two uniforms. And as far as his build, guys, I mean, he's got, you know, almost 28,000 physical attack, you know, pretty much max attack set except for the critical damage. Now, this is something else to note. In his red uniform, he's only got 174 critical damage. That's going to be maxed out because he actually gets 50% critical damage from his black uniform effect, right? So his critical damage is actually going to be maxed out in the black uniform. That's going to be another advantage that the black uniform is actually going to have. It's also awesome that I got the dodge completely maxed out. And then, of course, we're going to be taking advantage of this leadership tag, which is phenomenal, guys. And then as far as his Urus, I mean, I just got, you know, 5-star physical attack Urus. These other Urus don't really matter at all. So I can still jack them up quite a bit more. And something that I want to note, and in the last video that I did, I mean, I only played this character for like 30 minutes, okay? And I was just kind of going through the update, you know, I loaded up the update, played it a little bit, and then I started making the video, you know. And that's the thing about doing those things, is you never really get to test character to see what their true power really is. But his third skill, instead of this 0.4%, this is actually a 1.2% accumulation, which, as you can see, puts a smile on my face. That is sick. So, I mean, like, if you cancel this thing immediately, you know, you're not going to get a very good accumulation. You're only going to get that 0.4%, which is trash, guys. That's trash. And I remember initially when I saw that 0.4% in the patch notes, I was like, oh my God, that's not a very good accumulation. But that Marvel snuck one in on us. They snuck one in on us, because if you rear back and hold it, right, you'll get the full 1.2% accumulation. And the cool thing I like about this is, you know, the first time we saw him do this move was in the original Spider-Man, the very first Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. And I just love, because he's rearing back and ready to lay down the smackdown, right? Well, in that movie, he was just kind of doing like a dive up in the air to the bridge. But I really like how they did this, right? And the accumulation, because it lasts for 8 seconds, you can easily, whether you're playing in this uniform or the black uniform, you can easily keep your accumulation up while you're using your skills. It is sick. That is so awesome that they did that. 1.2% is a very, very good accumulation. Now, he only has a stage 5 Power Ranger Hawk set, right? I mean, this is not an optimal build by any means. He is level 70. He's got some 5-star Urus, but I mean, nothing major. I don't have his artifact. I do think his artifact would be pretty good for PvP because of the 20% chance to dodging all attacks, I believe is what it is. And then he's only got a critical damage with 160% damage proc. So a very free-to-play damage proc, and then his uniform is at Mythic. And the beautiful thing about Synergy uniforms is that whenever you level one up at Mythic, the other one automatically becomes Mythic. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up these runs for you guys. So check this out. So I'm going to do a split screen in this first comparison. This is stage 99 against Thanos, right? We got Nick Fury's leadership, we got White Fox, and you see on the left we're using the red uniform, and on the right we're using the black uniform. Now against Thanos, you know, the black uniform like just shattered. I mean, look at this. Now you'll see the damage differences here. So right now the black uniform is pulling ahead. It's already doing about 3 bars more than the red uniform. But still, you know, I mean, I do have 25% pierce, right? And I do have about 80% physical attack. But the fact that Spider-Man in either of these uniforms can do this amount of damage against 99 Thanos is extremely impressive. You know, I was going back through my old videos and I was wanting to look at my tier 2 Makari before I ever transcended her because I knew I did a Thanos clear with her. Back in the day, she had 140% damage proc, normal rank uniform, and then she didn't have any Urus, and she got down to like 1:30. She cleared Thanos in 3 minutes and 30 seconds, right, with 19% pierce, and a weaker build than what Spider-Man has, just to kind of give me an idea of how strong Spider-Man is. And when you see how fast he does this, even though I have, you know, 6% more pierce than what I had when I did with Makari, it's godly impressive. It really is. I mean, I've already seen this guy do stage 35 clears against Mephisto and Null. I mean, it's just nuts, right? Well, against Mephisto, right? I mean, that's just, and that's another thing, you know, the fact that Spider-Man is a speed type is, you know, he's going to have a huge advantage against Mephisto. Something else to note about Spider-Man is he doesn't have any super armor or guard break immunity. So there's certain attacks that can actually break his guard whenever he's winding up on that third skill, and that can be pretty damn annoying. The beautiful thing about World Boss Ultimate is that you do have Nick Fury available, right? Nick Fury can give super armor to the hero allies, so we have super armor all the time up right now, and it makes things a lot easier. We're not going to get guard broken at all. I'd highly recommend you guys probably putting a Mighty CTP of Destruction on him if you want to make a combination of PvE, PvP, depending on the uniform that you're going to buy, because he's probably going to be pretty annoying against Null. I don't know about Mephisto, but against Null, he's going to be really annoying if he's getting guard broken all the time. That's, I mean, and that goes a long way when it comes to playing with characters. You always want characters that are easy to play and fun to play. And that's another thing about Spider-Man that is really cool, is that he is easy to play. He is super proc friendly. And the thing about the red uniform that I like over the black uniform is that, you know, that webbing does last longer. Now, right now, the webbing and the time freeze isn't working because we're in the last phases against Thanos, right? Thanos is debuffing all that stuff, so it isn't working. But the fact that, you know, you have ignore iframe with the red uniform when you're doing your force skill, like Thanos can't really get away. Like whenever you're doing that, he can't get away, and that's really, really nice. And it's going to make an even bigger difference against the next boss, who I haven't played in, I don't even know, a long time. And something else to note about Spider-Man that's really awesome is that his fist skill can move around. So like whenever Thanos does his Titan Punch, or whenever he's shooting his beams out, or whatever he's doing, you know, you got purple attacks lying around on the ground, you can easily avoid all this if you can move around as you're laying the smackdown on your opponent, which is cool. And you guys can see on the right, the black uniform already cleared this. I mean, he did it. We got 1 minute and 42 seconds left, right? So, I mean, not, you know, almost as fast, like a little bit faster than Makari. And then on the right, you guys can see that we got down to 1 minute and 26 seconds. So it's not a huge difference between them. But to be fair, in the run with the black uniform and this comparison here, I did miss a proc and I did miss the force skill. And whenever you're not using that time freeze on that force skill, you're not going to be doing as many hits. Therefore, you're not going to be doing as much damage. So I think there would have been maybe about a 30-second difference actually if both of these runs would have been pretty much identical. I think that the black uniform probably would have done it 30 seconds faster than the red uniform. But still, the fact that that red uniform could do that well still proves that he could actually be really good in PvE against, at least against regular World Boss Ultimate. So in the next runs, I'm going to show you guys, we're just going to do a full screen view against stage 99 Apocalypse. And it has been a long time since I played Apocalypse. And I thought it'd be fun to show you guys what he can do against this guy, because he actually has a type disadvantage against Apocalypse. He's going to do a lot less damage against this guy. So, and in my opinion, I think Apocalypse really is harder than Thanos, in my opinion. Apocalypse is nuts. I mean, he's got ignore iframes all over the place. He's got all kinds of buffs. I mean, he's a real nightmare to deal with. And I know that a lot of people don't face this character because he's a mutant, right? The rewards that you get from doing this aren't as valuable as like all the BAM and all the other rewards that you can get from the other World Boss Ultimates. But just showing this, guys, I mean, look at the damage he's doing here, right? Now, I will say this. The black uniform compared to the red uniform was actually much easier to do this clear because we actually had ignore iframe. And that really, really helped because Apocalypse goes into iframes a lot. And you could always keep laying the smackdown on him no matter what. Whereas in the black uniform, I am kiting a lot. I'm running around all over the place, kiting and kiting and kiting, and then he'll go into iframe and I'll miss my attacks. And it's pretty damn annoying. And I mean, just look at all the obstacles you got to face. You got the swarm that you need to avoid. You got all the purple attacks. I mean, there's just so much you have to avoid and dodge whenever you're facing this bastard. All right, let's go run around. And I really am glad that he's got a debuff on both of his uniforms. That really does help his survivability. And now Apocalypse got that giant guard hit up. But still, I mean, Spider-Man, even with the time disadvantage, is getting it done. He's pretty much destroying this thing, murdering it, right? I mean, he's making this guy look like a little nothing. I didn't even know what to say, so that's why I said nothing. But still, look at him go. Look at him go. I could only imagine what he'd be doing at tier 3. Oh my God. Extra stat bumps, having the tier 3 damage. That'd be lit, right? And look at that, man. I mean, he cleared that thing in less than 2 minutes. Having a type disadvantage, he cleared stage 99 Thanos in under 2 minutes. That is OP, right? That's OP. So now we're going to put on the red uniform and see how he does, right? And remember, we cleared that in about, just a little less than 2 minutes. Now, see, the thing about the red uniform is that because of the 5-second webbing instead of the 4-second time freeze, and also because whenever you hit your 4, you have to kind of dash across the opponent and then go into the 5, so that way you get your webbing. You actually have more of a delay in there. You got more leeway in there as far as your time, and it's actually easier just to keep your CC up all the time with against your opponents. And honestly, in my opinion, it just makes the red uniform in a way better, right? Damage wise, no, it's not better, but I think for like the convenient factor whenever you're playing with the character, I mean, you guys are gonna notice I'm not gonna kite near as much with this red uniform. I'm just not, right? I just don't have to worry about kiting. I mean, look at this, guys. We hit the 3, 4, 5, right? Now he hit us there, but look at his survivability. He took that shot. At tier 2, he took that shot. That is crazy. Spider-Man has durability now? Spider-Man can take a hit? Is that OP or what? I mean, this guy's like, he's taking out Dooms in PvP. It's just nuts. I'm so happy with this, man. I'm so happy with what Netmarble did for this guy. We definitely want to avoid these purple attacks. We don't want to be getting hit by them over and over. I mean, Spider-Man's got that passive where he gets that nice heal. I mean, it just gave him so much survivability on top of having the 20% heal on his 4th skill. I mean, look at this guy. And see, this is what I mean by the webbing. Like, you just have a lot more CC, way more than the 4-second time freeze. Right? I mean, he's not doing as much damage, obviously, but honestly, it was easier. Like, when I did this against Apocalypse, when I was recording this, it took me 1 try. When I was using the black uniform, it took me a few tries because of all the kiting I was doing. I actually had to avoid taking any kind of damage from Apocalypse, which can be kind of a pain at times. Oh my God. Take him down, Spidey. Take him down. And I thought it'd be fun to go against Apocalypse because it's been so long since I did any videos with him. And there you guys can see right there, right? 2 minutes and 49 seconds. So it took, what, 13 seconds longer than what it did with the black uniform. 13 seconds longer. I mean, so it's not a huge difference between the damage outputs of these uniforms and regular World Boss Ultimate. So Spider-Man is absolutely destroying content no matter where he's at. You know, whether it's going to be in PvP if you have this uniform, or whether it's going to be in PvE if you have the black uniform. He's just destroying everything. And it's awesome to say that. It's awesome to say that, you know, arguably the most popular character in all of comics actually has become a god, actually has become relevant in this game. I think it's so awesome. It's going to be a while before I can tier 3 this guy, but I will tier 3 him. I do have a selector that's in the comings, but unfortunately it's going to be a couple weeks before I get it, so I won't be able to talk about him as far as how good he is at tier 3. But you guys have seen all the videos out there. You're seeing the PvP videos, you're seeing the PvE videos of him against Null and Mephisto, and he's godly. And you've seen all those PvP videos where he's laying the smackdown, man. He really is just amazing, and he really is the amazing Spider-Man. So let me know how y'all feeling about Spider-Man. I do stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. GM2+7 time. The link is in the description below, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See ya.